As New Bern's mayor for 16 years, Tom Bayless has gotten used to having his picture taken, but chances are he's never shown up in a newspaper like this one. Bayless and other members of a group from New Bern have arrived in Bern, Switzerland, New Bern's mother city, to find all sorts of attention from the Swiss media.
That showed that we weren't just ordinary representatives, so to speak, to them. We really do represent an important part of America, of their heritage.
Which dates back to 1710, when Christopher de Graffen Reed and a group of farmers and craftsmen left Switzerland and Europe and founded New Bern 5,000 miles away in the New World.
Dank der guten Beziehungen zwischen Bern und New Bern.
To honor the 300th anniversary of New Bern's settlement, the Swiss are hosting a gala and opening a 6-month exhibition on the subject at Bern's History Museum.
New Bern's anniversary is an ideal opportunity for Bern to celebrate with New Bern, to bring culture from New Bern to Old Bern. That was the idea of the project.
The visiting New Bernians are among the first to see the exhibit.
It's very, very exciting to be here. Right at the entrance, they have Bern flags on one side and New Bern flags on the other. It's pretty neat to know that we are a part of this and this exhibit.
300 years after Christopher de Graffen Reed left Switzerland to settle New Bern, his family remains an important part of Swiss society, especially in Bern, Switzerland's capital. In German, the last name changes to von Graffen Reed, but the legacy is the same. Many of the folks from New Bern have picked up on the connection.
There's a real feeling of kinship and interest, particularly with the de Graffen Reed family. You get the impression that they feel a somewhat parental interest in us.
One of the many reasons the de Graffen Reeds and others have been a driving force behind the Bern New Bern exhibit.
We wanted to honor and portray New Bern and Old Bern, but we also wanted to elaborate a common project. Until now, the exchanges that took place between the two Berns were very punctual visits. Somebody would go over and it was very nice to see you and come goodbye and come back, and that was it. But this time we are really working together.
And they have been for some time.
How they did the research and have these pictures that are projected on these walls is by itself a 4-year effort.
The Swiss group, called 300 Years New Bern, organized the exhibit and hired curator Max Veron to design it. The group collaborated closely with historians in New Bern.
We have focused on the American content, or the American story, the story in New Bern, and they have focused on Bern and its history and what was going on in Bern that made settlement an attractive proposition.
The result is an 11-display exhibit that tells the Bern New Bern story with a special blend of Swiss and American perspectives, weaving in everything from de Graffen Reed's castle to the creation of Pepsi Cola.
They just did a great job of bringing history and the new world together.
It all begins with a look at the hard economic conditions and religious persecution in Switzerland that prompted dozens of people to join de Graffen Reed on the journey to the New World. There are also pictures and dioramas depicting de Graffen Reed's life at Vorb Castle before he left to settle New Bern.
He was a nobleman. He was one of those whose imagination was probably captured by the idea of the New World. He was very interested in developing a Swiss colony in North Carolina.
Since England controlled North Carolina, de Graffen Reed had to get permission from the Queen to settle there, an event that's also depicted in the exhibit. The walls feature a series of paintings and maps showing what the New World looked like when the settlers landed there. There's also a diorama of de Graffen Reed's conflict with the Native American tribes.
The Tuscarora Indians are leaning over Christopher de Graffen Reed. That is in 3D and realistic and sort of caught my eye.
De Graffen Reed survived the encounter and later returned to Switzerland. But the colony he established continued on, and the Bern New Bern exhibit tells that story too, with accounts of the Civil War and New Bern's economic development afterward.
Pepsi Cola was invented over there.
Yes.
So exciting stories.
that resonate with the Swiss people who are checking out the exhibit. Pepsi is very familiar to the Swiss, and there's a display of its origins in New Bern. If you're saying to yourself, this all looks so interesting, I wish I could come to Switzerland and see it for myself. Turns out you don't have to. Most of these exhibits will be crossing the ocean and coming to New Bern in the summer of 2010. The exhibit is a way for the people of Bern to show their appreciation for New Bern as the city celebrates its 300th birthday.
It just makes me very, very proud. I wouldn't have missed this for anything.
They have done a fabulous job. The lifelike figures and the artifacts that they have put together, the old paintings.
And also a video and a series of photographs to represent what New Bern looks like today. Seeing elements of their culture thriving in the United States is exciting to the people of Bern.
It's something new for, I guess not everybody knows that New Bern exists in United States.
Changing that mentality is a major motivation behind the exhibit.
And that's one of the objectives that we were pursuing, to make New Bern known in Old Bern. After all, New Bern is the eldest Swiss settlement in the United States, and after all, New Bern is the only official daughter city of Old Bern.
And the media attention has come on both sides of the Atlantic. In addition to the coverage that's come here in Bern, have been stories from Swiss reporters like Rita Emk, who traveled to America to report on New Bern.
I think it's kind of important for the people of Switzerland to think about those older times, to reconsider what it means when you have to emigrate, when you have to leave your country and go up to new shores.
New Bern's 300th celebration has already inspired some of the Swiss people to make the journey westward in 2010, more than 100 of them so far. The people of Bern and New Bern hope the exhibit rekindles the relationship that goes back to 1710.
We're very proud of New Bern and what we can see exhibited here today, and we hope that that will be an influence on their wanting to visit our city and make the connection even stronger.